Well, life's short, so I'll keep this one brief. Awesome spiritual guru Ronald Rolheiser tells this very short parable of a man who, in his youth, gathered all his materials to build a rocket ship to Mars, and in middle age, he took those materials and built a garden shed. It's a good story, nice parable, and it reminds us of that journey from youth to maturity. It teaches us about limits and about youthful enthusiasm that becomes tempered with reality. It might also be a story of cynicism and fatalism, as much as it is a story of maturity and growth and becoming more gracious towards yourself. Because if the person who builds that garden shed hasn't really grown up, if building a garden shed instead of a rocket to the moon is giving up, it's quitting the race, it's capitulating instead of graciously changing, then it's possibly not a story of growth and maturity and sweetness of spirit, but more of a bitterness of spirit. What if the person who, in their fiery youth, dreamed of a great ambitious goal, doing something to save the world, some project they knew would improve the world, better the world, the many problems that we might list, and this youthful human had decided that they could do something about that instead of all of these people who just stood around complaining, and discovered over time that maybe their abilities were exceeded by their dreams, and they couldn't reach for the goals and ambitions they had plotted and planned and dreamed about. And maybe that idea that if you just try hard enough, you'll be able to achieve anything proved not to be quite so real as it promised to be. Maybe there are limits to our lives. Maybe there are limits to our abilities. Maybe there are limits to humanity. And maybe this person in their growing up and growing old discovered that perhaps a lot of our ambitions are part of the problem. And just being an ambitious person with grand dreams doesn't mean that you're going to do anything good and produce anything wonderful for the world. You might actually look around you and think of all these other people who've had grand dreams and grand visions and seen how much, in fact, they have contributed to the issues instead of solved them, and decided they didn't want to go that way. And so this person gathered their materials, pricked the balloon of their ambitions, and went to the backyard, not to grow in contentment with their lot in life, but in fact turning their back on the world and on humanity, and in a way even on themselves, and saying, and they're certainly turning their back on their youthful past and saying, if it's all going to hell, I might as well just grow good tomatoes in the meantime. That's one response. That's one way that someone might approach or come to these growing up and growing old realities. But it could be another way. It could be that the person who's building this garden shed has a very different attitude. It could be that instead of being bitter about their youth, they appreciate the zeal. They appreciate their ambition. They appreciate that to have a fire in your belly about wanting to do something good for the world, that can only be a good thing. Even if, though, when you get older, you realize, actually, yeah, I think our ambitions are part of the problem. It's not wrong to be ambitious, but it needs to be assessed and reassessed constantly, our targets and our motivations and our goals, to look with a great deal more wisdom as we grow older, and as we learn more and bump up against one another, we realize maybe some of our ambitions are more egotistical, more about trying to feel good about ourselves. And that helps refine that, and perhaps it does whittle the ambitions down a bit. Perhaps it does alter the size of our ambitions and our goals and our objectives. We might still wish to see something good happen in the world, but maybe we do, like that cynical, fatalistic person, recognize that our ambitions are part of the problem, and deciding not to be part of the problem, we take another path and we decide to do something that might still be good, that might still be a worthy goal, that might still be part of working for the good of the earth and for humanity and for ourselves, but on a smaller scale. Just because it's smaller doesn't mean it's lesser. And that's, I think, a lesson we do learn as we grow older, or can learn. A smaller thing is not necessarily a lesser thing. That, in fact, all big things are made up of very small things anyway. And this person might have come into a deeper and deeper understanding of God in contrast to ourselves. Because, of course, all of our ambitions, at one level, they are us saying, if anything's going to get done, I guess it's up to us. I guess it's all on us. Nothing gets done unless humans do it. Well, I didn't create myself. You didn't create yourself. No one was busy creating this world. We've got a lot of stuff given to us just as gift. We have a universe handed to us as gift. No one I know built it. That is to say, no humans I know built it. And yet we act as if it's our responsibility. Hey, sure, we've got to do some good things in it, and we can do damage or we can do good, no question. But it's a big leap to suggest that I am now responsible for the earth and all humanity and for the universe and for all things going well, as if that rested on my little shoulders. But because I do believe there is a creator, one who did make all things and has given all of this to us as a gift, my response in my midlife, as I did take the materials of my great ambitions that I had as a youth and just go into the backyard and build a garden shed, I did that as an act of faith in God, who I truly do believe isn't ignorant of the problems, hasn't forgotten us or the world and all that He has made. He has a plan. He has projects in mind. He has a fix. And while I am part of that, I am not central to it. It doesn't rest on me. It doesn't rely on me or you. It doesn't rely on any of us to accomplish. God's not sitting on the throne thinking, my goodness, if only Philip will get his thing right, then the world will be okay. It's just not like that. So going into the garden and building a shed there so that I can grow nice tomatoes, you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of a project that God Himself set for humanity. It reminds me of the story going back a fair way when the first thing that God made after He created all heavens and earth, He built a garden on the earth and He put some people in it and He said to them, look after this garden and make it grow. Cover the whole earth with this garden. And instead, what did we do? We decided we would rather have some knowledge. We went on a knowledge project. We decided we would rather be like God, creators of our own destiny, saving ourselves. And look where that led us. Ambitious, no question. Yeah, no end of ambition there. And maybe even, if we're really generous to that ancient couple, we might say that they had good motives. Is it bad to be God? Would it be a bad thing to want to be like God? I don't know. Probably not. It's not all bad anyway, is it? But it doesn't suit us. It's not what we're made for. And it didn't work for us then either. So you know what? I think in growing older and tempering my ambitions, and in fact, going into the backyard to build a garden shed so I can grow tomatoes, and we've got fruit trees in our backyard. We've got peaches coming on, plums coming on, apples coming on. We have limes and lemons. I'd love to plant a fig tree. We've got a grapevine that produced beautifully last summer. We've put some tomatoes. I've got tomato seedlings and I've got chili seedlings growing right now. We've got lettuce in the garden. We've got beetroot and carrots and silver beet and all sorts of things in the garden. And I think that instead of being so, let's put it this way, I think if we went into our backyardens in a metaphorical sense and tended our own spaces better with more love and care, if everyone did that, I suspect the world would already be quite a remarkably better place than always trying to fix someone else and try and fix somewhere else. Now, your garden may not just be your garden. My garden's not just my backyard. My garden is my neighborhood. It's my neighbors. It's my church community. For me, that's my garden. And my ambitions are no greater than just trying to help the people of Chapel Hill and be part of that community and just do some good things within our own space. I think if we did that and just took care of that and did that with love and with grace and just served in a humble way like a gardener does. I mean, when you come to thinking about gardeners, they're not ambitious, fiery, zeal-filled people. They are gentle, humble, earthy creatures. And I think that's a good thing for us to think about when we think about growing up and becoming more gentle saints of the earth and of God. Those are my thoughts today. I hope that you are well. We'll see you soon. I've been Philip and you have been you. God bless. See you soon.